What is the worst place you hooked up? Outside on a blanket by a lake. Sounds romantic, right? The mosquitoes thought so too. Hot leather sofa. I'm still stuck to it to this day. A construction site on a windy day. Sand and dust everywhere. It was on the edge of a cliff, but it was such an awkward position that my knees hurt from being on the ground. The scenery was beautiful though. While sitting on a tree stump that was home to a colony of termites. That did not end well. Yeah, I hear that they love wood. In the woods, with about 50 young bulls that were very interested in everything that was going on. We sneaked in and out of that field about 3 times to try and shake them off, but as soon as you make a sound, they all come running over to watch, with no concept of personal space. We ended up making a barrier out of branches to try and hold them off, but they just broke right through it in seconds. It was like Shaun of the Dead, but the zombies only want to lick you instead of eat you. Have you ever been licked by a bull? It feels like someone stroking your back with a fish dipped in egg whites. I would say I'm never doing that again. But we went back probably 7 or 8 times. Luckily, the cows were always distracted by some sheep in the next field. This is one of the many joys of having parents that don't knock before entering a room. Believe me, if I could not hook up in front of a mooing audience, I would. The back of a Volkswagen. Beach. Sandy balls and box. Bugs in my ass. Dog turds close by. No thanks. Blackpool. A couple of years ago, I was in a really bad hotel in Blackpool, and the people above us were having sex and the people below us were playing bingo. And the room was 35 degrees Celsius. Not a good night's sleep. A campground shower. People came in the bathroom while in the throes, and we had to just stand still like we were avoiding a raptor attack until they left, because they otherwise would have heard the ball slapping passion from behind a dinky stall door. Did I mention I was bent over, blood rushing to my head and water in my face? Still with the guy though, he's a charmer. Disabled toilets in a zoo. Looked up to see 2 monkeys watching us through the window and wonking. In a literal smokehouse. Lost my virginity with about 50 rings of deer sausage hanging around to dry. My friend and his dad were gone, and we were like, this seems like a great place. At least when I went home, smelled like venison instead of sex. Had sex in a tent that was too small, on a blow-up mattress that wasn't full enough, in a yard of people that I knew. Was a friend's 18th birthday, and my fiancé and I were both friends of theirs. We all camped out in the front yard, and I think every couple hooked up simultaneously. It was very sweaty and loud, and we were all blackout drunk too. Abandoned power plant at midnight. After the job was done, almost fell through a hole on the floor where machinery had been, onto God knows what below. That's when we heard the hobo cough. First floor, fully carpeted apartment, corner unit at the bottom of a hill. Heavy rain flooded the area. Humid weather. Put on a wait list for maintenance to address. Several days pass. Apartment smells rank as hell. Possible mold under carpet. Hottie from work shoots a text out of the blue saying she's been drinking with friends and wants to give me the good suck at my place. Time sensitive. One-time deal. Immediate response required. Tell her to haul her ass over. Best head I ever received. Smashed over soggy carpet. Possible long-term health effects due to mold. After a drunken night on 6th Street in Austin, girl and I were walking down Red River Street. She drags me in this bushy grassy area. We go at it. Finish. Call an Uber to West Campus. Continue going at it. The next day, we are super itchy. Come to find later it was poison ivy. Got it all over our genitals. Fun times. 10/10 would do it again though. At my significant other's house, in their garage, over the freezer, while their entire family is home. A long time ago. Back at my club, Penguin Igloo. Not me, but a friend of mine had sex with a girl in the helicopter of a McDonald's play place. He's never going to live that one down. There's this one time during which my ex and I both got really horny in the middle of the countryside. We headed for a small forest, took a quick walk in it, and did the deed in a small clearing. Sex was good, but while putting my clothes back on, spotted this camo painted hunting camera that's triggered by movement. It was, of course, pointing at us the whole time. Let's just say that this poor guy lost his footage. Just so you know, app cameras upload and have an SD card. So, not sure if it counts, but I once had a sleep paralysis wet dream. It was terrifying. Bottom of cliff next to the ocean. Turns out I have an allergic reaction to coral and my back was scratched from it. It was windy, wet, and itchy. Runner-up is a movie theater. I don't recommend on top of a piano. Very uncomfortable and not at all the experience we envision. Once, in a nearly empty train carriage, just sat on his lap, facing him in a hiked-up dress. All fun and games until you pull into a station, and there's a crowd of people on the platform looking directly at you through the window. To be fair, me and this particular ex-boyfriend were savages. We'd do it anywhere. Once in what we thought was an empty hotel ornamental gardens, we realized after that some dude was watching us from his balcony with a glass of wine and a cigarette. Some guy's creepy basement in a sex swing. IKEA. A porta potty at Coachella. The shower, without my glasses, head up to the shower head and my eyes being flooded with water while I'm getting bummed. In a public park, in front of a police station. It was around 4 a.m., we were drunk and high, and thought the grass was very comfortable. I was mortified the next day when I realized what I had done, and still cringe at the thought 13 years later. Abandoned water park. We probably have so many diseases from that. In my girlfriend's downstairs suite on the day, her dad decided to come home early. And I didn't find out until I went upstairs, where he then had me sit down, so he could tell me that most guys only have 3 to 4 shots in the chamber a day, and after that, the gun has overheated. He made sure to let me know how impressed he was that in the past 3 hours his daughter and I went at it over 6 times. That conversation felt like hours. Outside in Idaho on the back of a Jeep with a wild turkey running towards us. Terrifying. Does riding my motorbike and getting a handjob from my girlfriend on the back count? Felt real conflicted at the time, but I was young, so little brain won. On the living room floor of my parents' house. I can't remember why we were sleeping over, but we had a makeshift bed set up. Sheets, comforter, and pillows. Get frisky around AM. Mom wakes up and gets a drink of water from the adjoining kitchen. I was going slowly under the comforter, but I didn't stop. If her eyes are any good, she totally had to have seen us. Definitely my first time, outdoors in a field. Thought I was being a gentleman by putting my coat under us, not knowing that she was a squirter. I was so pissed off carrying my coat home, thinking she'd pissed on it. The joys of being young and stupid. The floor of a mall bathroom on a jacket. It was the family bathroom with 1 door or 1 lock, and a family with a wheelchair. Kid was banging on the door to use the facilities. The only way we could come out was by opening the door and walking past them, indicating we were in that small 1-person bathroom together. By the way, I was like 13. Lol. In a large park under a secluded tree, except for the off-leash dog that rushed us, never expecting a large animal to appear from nowhere and get all up in there. The roof of the grocery store I worked at right out of high school. 2 places I'm thinking of, but I'll go with the one in the roof. So we were like in a cottage-like house, and felt like doing it in public, but not to be able of getting caught. Actually, there were many people around because of the nightclubs, but still, we were safe. So that was a bad place because after 1 minute of going at it, I started feeling my leg funny, even itchy. I kept on and suddenly all this itchy annoying thing multiplies. At this point we stop same time, and we turn on the flash of cell phone, only to see thousands and thousands ants walking around or by, and of course, many of them were walking on our legs. I think that was the first time I willingly interrupted an intercourse. In the pool, water is not a good lubricant. I am leaving the club, got lucky, but we didn't have the patience walk to one of our places. So we stopped walking home and did it in a park. Walked past the park the next day to see it was actually a graveyard.